I Am LeBron James by Grace Norwich. Introduction, page 4. I've been a pretty good basketball player ever since I was a teenager. Well, maybe more than pretty good. My nickname, King James, is used by my teammates, fans, and the media. But if you knew me before I was famous, the title might seem like a joke. When I was growing up, my mom and I were so poor that we often found ourselves without a roof over our heads. We found shelter with friends and family in my hometown of Akron, Ohio. We slept on couches until it was time to move on. During this difficult time, my mom kept me on track. She isn't just the only parent I've ever had. She's also my best friend. Long before I became one of the greatest basketball players, Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal were among the thousands of fans who showed up to watch me play power forward for my high school team. I was just a shy kid with a special talent. Not even my mom, who believed in me from day one, could imagine the success that was waiting for me. I didn't do it alone. I had the help of devoted coaches who gave me a shot at greatness, as well as a place to live when I really needed it. With a lot of hard work, I went from a gangly boy who liked to ride his bike alone around the crumbling streets of Akron to a celebrated athlete on the cover of Sports Illustrated magazine. The early lessons I learned about loyalty can be seen on the basketball court. I pass the ball as often as I shoot. My commitment to teamwork has helped me win championships as well as gold medals at the Olympics. I may be basketball royalty, but I worked hard to earn my crown. I am LeBron James. People you will meet. LeBron James, one of the best basketball players of all time. He overcame many obstacles to become a champion. Gloria James, LeBron's mother, who lives in Ohio, was a single mom at a young age and his biggest supporter. Frankie Walker Sr., a youth football coach who took in LeBron until he was 10 and became an inspiring figure in LeBron's life. Drew Joyce II, coach of the Shooting Stars, who helped develop LeBron's on-court skills. Drew Joyce III, LeBron's good friend and teammate on the Shooting Stars, known for his short height and shy demeanor. Sion Cotton, LeBron's friend and teammate on the Shooting Stars, known for his practical jokes. Willie McGee, LeBron's third friend and teammate on the Shooting Stars, known for his maturity and gifted ball handling. Keith Dambro, the head basketball coach at St. Vincent St. Mary High School, who helped LeBron learn discipline on and off the court. Savannah Brinson, LeBron's high school sweetheart, who became his wife when they married in 2013. Chris Bosh, power forward and center, who played with LeBron for the Miami Heat. Dwayne Wade, guard for the Miami Heat, who, along with LeBron and Chris Bosh, was part of the group known as the Big Three. Chapter 1, page 15. The House on Hickory Street. LeBron James and his mother Gloria have always been close. In fact, he likes to call her his best friend. Their connection began on a cold winter morning of December 30th, 1984, when Gloria gave birth to LeBron in the working class city of Akron, Ohio. Life wasn't easy. Gloria was only 16 years old when she had LeBron. LeBron's father was already gone when LeBron entered the world. As LeBron later put it, Gloria was my mother, my father, everything. At that time, their community was filled with crime, drugs, and poverty. Unemployment was high in Akron. We had some tough times, the basketball star admitted, but she was always there for me. For the first few years of his life, LeBron and Gloria lived in a big house their family owned on Hickory Street. They lived with his grandmother, great grandmother, and two uncles on a dirt road next to the railroad tracks. Grandmother Freda spent a lot of time taking care of LeBron, but everyone helped, even his 9-year-old uncle, Kurt. Although the James family didn't have much money, they showered LeBron with love, and he grew into a bouncy, athletic toddler. A Life-Changing Christmas, page 18. In 1987, the year LeBron turned 3, Christmas was marked by both joy and pain. Gloria and her boyfriend Eddie Jackson bought LeBron a child's basketball set. When Eddie and Gloria raised the level of the hoop as high as it would go, LeBron didn't shoot the ball into the basket like they thought he would. Instead, he took a running start, leapt up, and slam dunked the ball. When Eddie saw this, he must have thought, this toddler really has game. However, LeBron's world changed on the night of Christmas Eve. At 3 a.m., LeBron's beloved grandmother suffered a massive heart attack and passed away at their Hickory home. Tough times. Soon, the family really began to struggle. Gloria and her brothers tried to maintain the house on Hickory Street, but it was too old, too big, and too expensive. Even with food and babysitting help from neighbors, Gloria and her brothers couldn't afford to pay for the heat, and the house started to fall apart. There was a hole right in the middle of the floor, which was getting bigger by the day. Eventually, the city condemned the house, and the James family had to move. With only a single suitcase and his favorite blue stuffed elephant, LeBron and his mom left the only home he had ever known. The city that rubber built. Located approximately 40 miles south of Cleveland, Akron, Ohio, was once known as the rubber capital of the world because big companies such as Goodyear and Firestone made millions of tires in the city's factories. By the time LeBron was born, most of those companies had moved their business elsewhere. When the tire industry of Akron moved its business overseas, thousands of manufacturing jobs were lost overnight. That negatively affected the entire city. Without jobs, people didn't have money to shop in stores or buy houses. Many people had to move away from Akron in search of work, and those who stayed had little opportunity. The damaging effects on the city were lasting, and it changed LeBron and his family's everyday life. Chapter 2. Nowhere to Call Home, page 25. When a kind neighbor offered Gloria and LeBron a place to sleep on her couch, it was a temporary solution to an immediate problem. They stayed on the neighbor's couch for a few months. Then they stayed at a cousin's place. They never imagined that they would spend 6 long years moving from one house or apartment to another. They stayed anywhere they were invited until they wore out their welcome. They lived in one building that was so run down, the city evicted everyone living there and tore it down. Eventually, their travels took them to the Elizabeth Park Projects, a gritty apartment complex near Akron's downtown. Gloria had a lot of friends they could stay with there. On the downside, there was also a lot of crime. LeBron's mind raced with worry as he lay awake in a strange bed at night, listening to the loud wails of sirens outside his window. He imagined violent gang fights taking place outside. In his memoir entitled Shooting Stars, LeBron described these as his darkest days growing up. Dark days. In the spring of 1993, Gloria and LeBron moved 5 times in only 3 months. It was the most difficult time in LeBron's childhood. All the moving around was exhausting and made getting to school, let alone doing homework or studying for tests, next to impossible. In the 4th grade, he missed 82 out of 160 days of school. LeBron often rode his bike through the streets of Akron with nowhere in particular to go, and he always kept his head down. Many people mistook this for shyness, but LeBron was simply doing his best to stay out of trouble. Always on the go. Between the ages of 5 and 8, LeBron and his mother moved a dozen times. It's especially hard to make friends when you keep moving around. Although it was incredibly difficult for him, LeBron found strength in the source he always had, his mother. He has said, "It's really all I cared about when I was growing up. Waking up and knowing that my mom was still alive and still by my side." Chapter 3, Team Player, page 33. For the most part, LeBron succeeded in avoiding trouble. Although he was doing poorly in school, he didn't join a gang or sell drugs like some people around him. Despite the crime, LeBron has said that Akron was also the kind of place where people found you and protected you and treated you like their own son, even when you weren't. But in order to stay on the right path, LeBron needed an even stronger community, which he found in organized sports. In 1994, LeBron joined the South Rangers, the local youth football team. Former NFL players and coaches often came out to watch the middle schoolers play, led by Coach Frankie Walker Sr. While coaching LeBron, Walker took note of both the boy's talent and his difficult home life. Frankie Walker and his wife Pam, who already had 2 daughters and a son, invited LeBron to live with them until Gloria found a permanent place for them to live. A new beginning. It was difficult for Gloria to be separated from LeBron, but she knew the Walkers were able to provide the stable home environment that LeBron needed. They treated him like a son, which meant chores, homework, and regular meals for LeBron. Gloria was invited to spend as much time at the house as she liked. The Walkers quickly became like family to LeBron. The Walkers were disciplined, and they plunged me right into that discipline, he said of the life-changing experience. It paid off. After years of struggling with schoolwork and absences, LeBron was able to maintain a B average and achieve a perfect attendance record during fifth grade. Fifth grade was also the year LeBron started playing basketball. A rising star, LeBron joined the Summit Lake Hornets, the youth rec league basketball team that Frankie Jr. played on and Frankie Sr. coached. LeBron's natural athleticism was immediately obvious to everyone. He was able to learn new plays with lightning speed. When Walker showed the team how to dribble and shoot with their opposite hand, LeBron was the only one able to use the new skill right away in the heat of competition. You'd tell him something once, Walker recalled, and then you'd see him do it in a game. LeBron also demonstrated incredible instinct and the skill of anticipation. He seemed to know what was going to happen on the court 3 or 4 plays before it actually occurred. LeBron also had a remarkably positive attitude. Losing didn't make him mad. It made him practice harder. He loved being part of a team, which provided him with another surrogate family. Coach Walker was so impressed that he made LeBron assistant coach of the younger grade team. The qualities that promised to make a champion out of LeBron James were starting to take shape. To the left, Frank Walker Sr. may have taught LeBron the importance of discipline and routine, but he also taught him something else: the left-handed layup. Walker forced LeBron to practice his left-handed layups, encouraging him to be as good with his left hand as he was with his right. Frank Sr. has said he used to cry about it. He used to say, "I can't do it." After winning games with last-second left-handed layups, LeBron has said, "I give credit to my little league coach, Frank Walker Sr. I've been doing that since I was 8 years old." Chapter 4, A Fab Start, page 43. By 1996, life was much better for the James family. Gloria had found a good job and was finally able to get a place of her own. Their 2-bedroom apartment in Spring Hill was only 300 square feet, but it was all theirs. LeBron, now almost 12, moved back in with his mother and lived with her until he graduated from high school. He proudly wore the key to the front door around his neck. Having your own key to your own crib, that's the greatest thing in the world, he told the New York Times. LeBron joined a new basketball team, the Shooting Stars. Drew Joyce II, the coach of the national level Amateur Athletic Union (AAU) team, could see that LeBron was a star. At only 12 years old, LeBron was already close to 6 feet tall, with a gift for controlling the action on the court. When LeBron played, it seemed as if everyone else knew that LeBron was good enough to play alone against 5 other players and win. But instead of putting a spotlight on LeBron, Drew helped him see the reward in helping his teammates to score rather than just dunking the ball himself. The Fab Four. During this time, LeBron built powerful friendships with some of his teammates. The coach's son, Drew III, known as Little Drew, Willie McGee, and Sion Cotton became LeBron's friends for life. Little Drew was the quiet one. Sion liked to joke around. Willie was mature for his age, like LeBron. Together, the four became like brothers on and off the court. They even gave their group a name, the Fab Four. And they lived up to their name. In the 5 years that the Fab Four played in the AAU, the Shooting Stars won more than 200 games and 6 national championships. LeBron received attention from his coach, teammates, and the fans of the Shooting Stars. And soon, his ability earned him national recognition. His name was known throughout the country as one of the best young players anyone had ever seen. As he prepared to go to high school, everyone in Akron assumed he would attend John R. Buchtel High School, which had a top-notch basketball program. However, deciding where to attend high school was complicated for LeBron. The Fab Four didn't want to split up, but it was doubtful that little Drew was tall enough to be on the team at Buchtel. LeBron faced a serious dilemma. Should he join the most competitive team or stick with the guys? Would this be the end of the Fab Four? Earning his wings. The Shooting Stars expanded LeBron's world in many ways. He improved as a player and made lifelong friends. He also got to travel for the first time in his life. Competing in a national league meant the team went to other states for games, sometimes by plane. The first time LeBron had to fly for a national tournament in Salt Lake City, he was terrified. He was scared stiff, Coach Drew told the Akron Beacon Journal. He cried the entire time. He wanted his mother. Chapter 5. Rising Star, page 51. When LeBron started his first day of high school, little Drew, Sion, and Willie were right by his side. The Fab Four had made the collective decision to attend St. Vincent St. Mary High School, which was known as St. V. Many people were surprised by LeBron's choice. St. V was a small Catholic school with a reputation for strong academics, but it was not strong in basketball. LeBron was in shock when he started school in the fall of 1999. Culture shock. St. V had a dress code, a golf team, and without a scholarship, tuition cost $8,000 a year, and many of his new classmates were white. I had never spent any time with white Americans, and I didn't know anything at all about their culture, he told the New York Times. It was a big transition. At St. V, LeBron had a new coach, but he was a familiar face. St. V's coach, Keith Dambrot, taught Sunday clinics at the local Jewish community center, which LeBron and the other Shooting Stars attended almost every weekend during 8th grade. Just as Coach Drew Joyce II had taught LeBron the value of passing the ball, Coach Dambrot kept the 6'4", 170-pound rising star humble by putting him in his place. Coach Dambrot would yell at me, tell me all the time that I'm not as good as I think I am, LeBron said. I needed that. LeBron practiced long and hard every day. A normal practice session included as many as 800 jump shots, and the work paid off. In his freshman year, the St. V Irish won the Ohio State Championship. The Fab Four had done it again. During LeBron's sophomore year, he worked hard to improve his skills. Out of 28 games, the Irish lost only one game that year. They ended the season 27-1 and were state champs again. With a personal average of 25.2 points per game, LeBron was the first sophomore to receive Ohio's Mr. Basketball Award, given to the top high school player in the state. He was also named to USA Today's All-American Team, another first for a sophomore. Better than the rest. That summer, LeBron joined a basketball camp called 5 Star, which famous players like Michael Jordan, Moses Malone, Stephon Marbury, and Carmelo Anthony had all attended. Even at camp, LeBron stood out. Howard Garfinkel, the scout who started 5 Star in 1966, said he'd never seen anything quite like it. Usually, 5 Star players were divided into 2 leagues by age. After only 4 games, Garfinkel decided LeBron's skills were far greater than the other players in his age group and suggested he move up to the league for older players. However, the loyal LeBron didn't want to leave his league team and got permission from Garfinkel to play in both leagues. That meant he was in 4 games a day instead of 2, and he still made it to the All-Star games for both leagues. Garfinkel said that no one had ever played in both leagues before. Taking notice. Back in high school for his junior year, LeBron continued to draw attention. Standing 6 feet 7 inches tall and weighing 225 pounds, LeBron had the height and the strength to push his skills to the next level. His high school basketball games became major sporting events. As his fame grew, St. V's gym didn't have enough seats for everyone who wanted to watch LeBron and the Irish beat their competitors. Soon, the Irish started playing many of their home games at the University of Akron basketball court. Famous players like Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, as well as professional scouts, came to check him out. One scout deemed him the best high school player of all time. Everyone agreed that LeBron would be the first pick in the NBA draft if he left high school at the end of his junior year. Immediately, rumors started to fly that he was going to quit school to join the pros before graduation. In February 2002, when LeBron was still in 11th grade, he appeared on the cover of Sports Illustrated with the headline, "The Chosen One." But LeBron made his graduation plans clear to the press when he said, "That is not going to happen. I can do more to get my brain and my game ready if I finish school." Football star. During his junior year, LeBron also played high school football as a wide receiver. He was so good that he made the All-State team, but Gloria didn't want him to play. She was concerned that LeBron could hurt himself and risk his chance at a career in the NBA. Although he did quit football after his junior year, LeBron never lost his love for the game. In 2013, LeBron bought cutting edge all black uniforms for St. V's football team. Chapter 6 Under the Microscope, page 63. Senior year is a stressful time for many kids, and for LeBron, it was a pressure cooker. He still went to the movies with his friends, played video games, ate big bowls of cereal for dinner, and had to clean his room. But at the same time, LeBron had basketball scouts breathing down his neck, as well as companies asking him to sign endorsement deals as soon as he went into professional basketball. Endorsement deals are when companies pay people, usually celebrities or athletes, to put their names on, appear in commercials for, or help to design a product. The more famous LeBron got, the more people watched and judged his actions. He had to be especially careful about the rules that banned student athletes from taking any money or gifts. LeBron knew just how seriously the regulations were enforced. He refused to sign any copies of his Sports Illustrated covers for strangers because he knew copies could be sold on eBay for large sums of money. However, in May 2002, he did accept a special invitation from the Cleveland Cavaliers to work out with its players. That broke with the policy stating that NBA teams are not to have contact with amateur players unless they are eligible to play professionally. Cavaliers coach John Lucas was suspended for the first 2 games of the 2002-2003 season, and the team was fined $150,000. Under fire. In January 2003, LeBron created his own controversy when he arrived at school in a customized Hummer H2, which was worth about $80,000. He said it was a present from Gloria for his 18th birthday. The story was hard to believe. How could his mom afford to buy him such an expensive car? The press speculated that the car was a gift from a sporting goods company as an incentive to sign an endorsement. The accusations threatened LeBron's amateur athletic status and his chance of finishing the season with his high school team. 2 weeks after the initial accusations, Gloria shared copies of the paperwork for the bank loan she had taken out to buy the car, proved LeBron's innocence, and the scandal died down. Unfortunately, Gloria soon found herself defending her son again. In return for autographed pictures of himself, LeBron accepted a few vintage sports jerseys as a gift from the owner of a clothing store in Cleveland. Regulators said he couldn't finish his high school season, although the store insisted the jerseys were simply a thank you gift. LeBron was heartbroken at being benched and letting his teammates down. "I love them to death, and I can do nothing without my teammates," he said in an interview. Gloria hired an attorney to fight the ruling, which was eventually reversed. LeBron came back to the court ready to win. He was so pumped during his first game back that he scored 52 points, the most he'd ever scored in a single game. The Fighting Irish became the first Ohio team to get to the finals 4 years in a row. They won the state championship and were ranked the number 1 high school team in the country by USA Today. by the numbers. Although the Hummer H2 his mom bought him during his senior year got him in a lot of trouble, LeBron continued to enjoy the tricked out ride long after he went pro. In 2007, the massive vehicle underwent a serious makeover on unique whips. The Speed Channel TV show outfitted the car with 28-inch custom rims, a touchscreen computer, a Sony PlayStation 2, a custom audio system, a bunch of TV monitors, and more. I might as well live in there, James said on air. All I need is a pillow and a blanket. Maybe so, but he didn't drive it much. When a Cleveland auto dealer put the infamous car up for auction on eBay in 2014 for $64,800, it only had 28,117 miles. TV time. During LeBron's senior year, ESPN2 decided to broadcast one of his games. It was the first time a high school game had been broadcast live in prime time. 12,000 people were in the stands at the Rhodes Arena to watch the Fighting Irish compete against the Oak Hill Warriors. With 31 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 assists, LeBron helped his team win 65-45. Chapter 7. A Rookie in Name Only, page 75. By the time LeBron and Gloria arrived for the NBA draft at Madison Square Garden in New York City on June 26, 2003, he was already a multimillionaire. Everyone knew what was going to happen in the draft and that LeBron was going to be a huge pro basketball star. Nike was so certain of his future success that they made a deal worth a lot of money for LeBron to sell their sneakers right after he finished high school. Dressing the part, LeBron wore an all-white ensemble with huge diamond earrings and a diamond watch to the draft. For weeks leading up to the NBA draft, the world's biggest sneaker companies had been wooing the high school senior in hope he would sign an exclusive endorsement deal with them. Adidas chartered a private jet for LeBron and his friends to travel to a meeting in Los Angeles and put them up at a Malibu mansion with a view of the Pacific Ocean. The only bummer was that the meeting took place during the same weekend as their senior prom, which he missed to take the meeting in LA. Adidas's campaign was elaborate. They even bought billboards and bus signs with messages directly for LeBron. But despite Adidas's efforts, LeBron signed a 7-year contract with Nike worth a staggering $90 million. This deal trumped sneaker endorsements of the past. When Michael Jordan signed his first endorsement deal with Nike in 1984, it was worth $7 million. Root for the home team. The draft pick at the Garden was obvious, since LeBron was clearly number one. The lucky team that landed him was none other than his home state's Cleveland Cavaliers, who were then tied for the worst record in the NBA. Fans of the struggling franchise were counting on LeBron to turn things around. All eyes were on him. For his debut game of the 2003-2004 season against the Sacramento Kings, the Kings press office gave out twice the normal number of press passes. When asked how LeBron, only 18, was handling the pressure, he answered, "As long as you've got friends, you've got nothing to worry about." With confidence that the Fab Four, his mom, and the rest of his close circle would always have his back, LeBron played his heart out during his first season. Although the Cavaliers didn't make the playoffs, he was named Rookie of the Year. A new role. Becoming a pro basketball player wasn't the only big change in LeBron's life. 8 days before the first preseason game of 2004-2005, his girlfriend Savannah Brinson gave birth to their son LeBron James Jr. LeBron missed 3 practices so that he could be with Savannah for the birth of his first child in Akron. Although he never grew up with a father, LeBron was thrilled to become one. LeBron and Savannah had known each other since high school, although she went to a rival school. After meeting her at a football game, LeBron asked the pretty softball player and cheerleader to come to his school to watch one of his basketball games. She knew he really liked her after their first date at the Outback Steakhouse, because he later brought her the leftovers she forgot in his car. "He just wanted another excuse to come and see me," she said. USA, USA. During the summer, after his first NBA season, LeBron went to the Olympics in Athens, Greece, with the U.S. men's basketball team as the youngest player ever to be on Team USA. Unfortunately, he spent most of his time during the games on the bench, which might have had something to do with the team bringing home the bronze. Luckily, LeBron had another chance in Beijing during the 2008 Olympics, when the U.S. team went undefeated all the way to the finals, where they beat Spain to win a gold medal. In the London Games of 2012, Team USA found itself up against Spain again in the final game, where LeBron had 19 points to win gold. During those 3 Olympics, LeBron made history by becoming the all-time leading scorer in U.S. men's basketball history. Chapter 8. Here comes the cavalry. In spite of a few winning seasons since the team's start in 1970, the Cavaliers had been on a losing streak for many years before LeBron's arrival. Over the next 4 years, LeBron helped the Cavaliers improve their record, and fan attendance at home games soared. Yet while LeBron was picked for the NBA All-Star Game every year he was with the team, the Cavs' failure to get to the championship finals was a constant disappointment to the team's managers. Before the 2005-2006 season, the team hired Mike Brown as the new head coach and acquired several top-tier players through trades. The Cavs made the playoffs that year for the first time since 1998, but ended up losing in the second round to the Detroit Pistons. Meanwhile, LeBron continued to be a powerful leader on the court, becoming the youngest player to score 4,000 career points. In the 2006 to 2007 season, the Cavs avenged their loss to the Pistons and made it all the way to the NBA Finals. Unfortunately, they were outmatched by the San Antonio Spurs, who swept the Cavs 4-0. LeBron couldn't be upset over the loss for long. Early in the morning on the day of the last game, Savannah gave birth to their second child, named Bryce Maximus James. Maximus is the name of the lead character in LeBron's favorite film, Gladiator. But his ultimate goal of a league championship still seemed out of reach. In 2007 2008, the Cavs failed to make it to the finals. But they made some key changes in the offseason, including adding an awesome point guard named Mo Williams. A fresh season. With Mo and LeBron as a team, the 2008-2009 season would be one of the best for the Cavs, who finished 66-16, their best record ever. LeBron was a powerhouse all the way. After a game against the Milwaukee Bucks, during which he scored 55 points, including 8 three-pointers, one teammate said that playing with him was like watching a video game. He was again named MVP at the end of the season. But once again, the Cavaliers couldn't close the deal and lost to the Orlando Magic in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Cavs still lacked the support LeBron needed on the court. So the Cavaliers acquired Shaquille O'Neal in 2009. The NBA veteran helped bring the team to the championships the following year. But again, they lost. This time to the Boston Celtics in the second round of the playoffs. LeBron was named MVP, went to the All-Star game, and became the youngest player ever to score 15,000 points in his career. But none of that was enough. LeBron wanted to be a champion. Cover boy. Between 2002 and 2013, LeBron appeared on the cover of Sports Illustrated 20 times. Making the cover of the magazine, which is more than 50 years old and has over 3 million readers, is most athletes' dream. But LeBron had no clue what an honor it was. I didn't know till I was like 21 years old how big Sports Illustrated was, he said. Then I was like, wow, I must be pretty big in high school. If he didn't learn what a big deal Sports Illustrated was from other players in the NBA, then he might have figured it out from how much autographed copies of his 2002 cover cost collectors. More than 10 years later, an autographed and framed copy of LeBron's first cover had a starting bid of $475 on eBay. Chapter 9. The Heat is On. Fans of the Cleveland Cavaliers were devastated by their team's loss to the Boston Celtics in the 2010 NBA playoffs. They also had bigger worries. LeBron's contract was up at the end of the season, making him eligible for free agency. In other words, he could play for any team he wanted. He could leave Cleveland. Theories swirled as to what team LeBron would choose. Many assumed he would stay in Cleveland in order to win an NBA championship with the Cavs. Others guessed he would go to a bigger city like New York or Los Angeles. On the evening of July 8, 2010, LeBron added to the suspense by appearing on a live television special called The Decision, which aired on ESPN. With the cameras rolling and basketball fans everywhere on the edge of their seats, LeBron announced, "In this fall, this is very tough, in this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat. The decision. Some 13 million viewers had tuned in to watch the decision, and many of them were very unhappy about his choice. It was a very controversial decision, especially for his fans back home in Ohio, who were counting on LeBron for a championship title. They ripped up LeBron posters in the streets, and some even set fire to the player's number 23 jersey. In a public letter, the team's majority owner, Dan Gilbert, called LeBron selfish and heartless. LeBron had agonized over the decision. He didn't just want to be a star, he wanted to be a champion. And in the Miami Heat, he saw just that, a collection of players with the potential to win multiple championships.